What's up, YouTube? This is Dharma. Thank you for joining me. I want to read a poem that was written by a Lutheran pastor who at first supported Nazi ideas when the Nazis came to power. He ended up in a concentration camp. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I know a lot of us are upset, and some of us are exuberant with what's been going on. This is not what our founding fathers intended, and yeah, there's a lot of problems with the Constitution in modern times, especially since it's been gutted. But before that, even for modern times, there were a lot of issues. And a popular quote on certain internet circles is "no hate like Christian love," and that's true. And I think we need to take a moment to self-reflect whether we're Christian or not, because if we are Christian, speaking from the tradition in which I was raised, bless those who persecute you, pray for those who persecute you, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And look us all, so however you want to say it, as above, so below, by the same standards as within, so without. And then Obadiah chapter 1 tells you that when an enemy falls, you are not to rejoice. But I would go further and remind us that these are not our enemies. They are our brothers and sisters. And we need to get a grip and stop being so reactionary. For a long time, I spent time in self-pity and self-martyrdom and reactionary things. And it was because of, certain experiences from childhood through my 50s, my early 50s. And then finally, after a particular experience that very nearly cost me my life, I had a near-death experience that was rather interesting. I would call it a personal experience with my higher powers. Some might say it was a personal experience with DMT. But either way, it changed my life. So where my abuser meant for me to never get up, possibly not to live, certainly not to come back stronger, more emotionally balanced, I did. And he did me a favor. And that happened because I genuinely forgave him. I don't wish bad on him. I don't hope he gets his. I don't hope for justice, because what I consider justice may not be justice. And I've come to see justice a lot differently. Now we're faced with challenging times, and I was pondering things, and then went into the Bhagavad Gita, the first two chapters, and it brought some personal clarity. So I prefer to say divine timing. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. And if you're here on my channel, it's amazing you do. But it's been what a long, strange trip it's been. Shout out to the Grateful Dead. But we have some decisions to make. We're not going to be able to crap post our way out of them. We're not going to be able to PTO our way out of them. You know, take a couple hours off work if we're lucky enough to have work. We're going to have to make tough decisions and we're going to have to make sacrifices. However, if we do so out of a place of anger or rage or bitterness or hatred, we may be sadly misguided. So that doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. That means getting honest with ourselves, doing the grief work, doing the rage work, feeling our feelings, processing them, and then transcending them. And it doesn't matter if we have to do it over and over in the process of what we're doing. We just keep doing it. And we just keep doing it. And then we do what we have to do. So, that being said, this is a reading for the sign of Aquarius. Well, actually, no, scratch that. I'm going to do a reading for all of us. Since that was a long intro. So you hear it. You take what you need, leave the rest. What's in our shadows? And what makes us angry about someone else? Or shocked, or hurt, or horrified, or any other negative emotions? We need to look at what's inside of us. We need to do that shadow work, because if we're seeing it in somebody else and it's bringing up negative emotions, then it's probably something within us that's very similar that we need to work with. And if it's positive things that we admire, then we need to look deep down inside of us and find those qualities, because it's probably there. That's why we need to avoid demonization, the cult of the hero, the cult of personality. So let's see what's going on in our collective shadow that we need to work with, that we can work with. And then let's get busy. This means talking to people we may not agree with. This may mean talking to people we don't particularly like. We have a future to build. And I don't think that we're going to have much time. Park Rose Permaculture did a lovely video. So you may want to visit her channel. And also, I was watching Soulful Revolution with MJ and the Split Stream earlier. They had good things to say. So, guides, ancestors, holy guardian angels, Most High God. What is within our collective shadow that we can work with this week? Please and thank you. Can I get 3 or 4 cards? Please and thank you. Thank you so much. We thank you for our blessings. And we ask you to help us bless those that don't have. King sideways. So not in the upright, not in the reverse. We need to work with it a little bit. The light attributes, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge, and in the shadow, excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. I would imagine some are in the light, and some of us are in the dark, and some of us are working on getting it upright. Thank you so much. Warrior in the shadow. Trading ethical principles of victory at any cost. Trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference for the suffering inflicted on others. So that means, yeah, they're saying that we cannot want to do to others as they want to do to us or as they have done to us. That's not justice. That's retribution. Justice is healing. Now, that doesn't mean that there are no consequences for actions, that they cannot come out of a place, well, they can, but it's not right if they come out of a place of anger or hatred or bitterness or jealousy, envy. You got to get on the get right. What else, please? And thank you. The Samaritan in the light refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. Wow. I'm telling you, no such thing as coincidence. Anything else, please and thank you before I get into the tarot. Anything else, please and thank you before I get into the tarot. Queen in the light radiates the regal feminine. Now we all have divine masculine and divine feminine in us. Let's find it. Radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. Thank you so much. So let's see what the tarot has to say. And if y'all are watching tarot readers who are reactionary, who talk about flashing out in anger or doing exactly to others, I mean, the stuff they've done to us, I would ask you to find a different tarot reader. If you're listening to teachers, preachers, imams, rabbis who are doing that, I would say get a new worship leader. Build coalitions. Aim for better education rather than retribution. We need to segregate certain people away from society to keep them from harming self or others. It needs to be done in love with the intent to rehabilitate, not exact retribution. Because this eye-for-an eye garbage is what got us where we are now. Oh yeah, the person who almost took my life. One thing they said to me that really helped me is, God's got me. Recent past, 10 Cups reversed. The happily never after. It might have been happily ever after at one point, but at some point that got turned on its head. Current situation, a lot of bills, please and thank you. Nine of Pentacles reversed. Lack mentality. The Hangman reversed, refusing to go within and claim our responsibility, wanting to point fingers at others without taking responsibility ourselves for where we are. Crossing, Queen of Wands, that gives us a fiery passion to work with. That's not a bad thing, it just has to be for the right reasons, not the wrong ones. No greed, envy, hate, as Millie said. And the subconscious, the Queen of Pentacles, something of value, nurturing, divine feminine even, or on her way to becoming. Now, energies, as I always say, I forgot to say this, but time and energies are fluid, can be a mishmash of any, depending on where we are in our healing process, how much work we've done on ourselves. Energies are fluid. We all hold masculine and feminine energies within us. And I've always said divine, and I will add infernal as well. The feminine energy is receptive, passive. The masculine energy is direct, active. But in our unconscious, we have something of value to manifest. And it is something tangible. Maybe a better government, better relationship, better self. We need to nurture. And the consciousness, please and thank you. And the collective consciousness, please and thank you. The Wheel of Fortune. This is our time. It's in our consciousness, but we have to make it happen. Near future. Near future. Thank you so much. Sun, things being brought to light. Could be the happiest card in the deck, but I think right now there's a lot of things that are going to be brought to light. And if we see the ugliness in others, again, we need to look within ourselves. If we see something admirable with others, we need to look within ourselves. We need to do fearless and searching moral inventory, so the 12-step program says. In the environment, please and thank you. In the environment, please and thank you. In the environment, please and thank you. Lovers reverse. We're schisms as a society. That could go within our family, within our job, certainly with the business leaders. If y'all don't know about the business plot and Smedley Butler, Prescott Bush, I would encourage you to look it up. Hopes and fears. We don't want to go within. We're afraid to go within. And we hope to find our strength, but I'm going to tell y'all, that's self-mastery, by the way. That's power over ourselves. Self-mastery, not power and mastery over others. If we're not willing to go within and look at ourselves fearlessly, look at the ugliness within ourselves and work with it, get it out. Put our demons to work for us instead of against us, in other words. As mentioned in the Lesser Key of Solomon or the Testament of Solomon. We're not going to find that strength. We're going to try to exert power over others rather than ourselves, and that's not going to end well. Personal influence. What influence we have? What influence we have? Thank you so much. Knight of Wands. Riding in with a passionate offer. The full reverse, but there won't be a new beginning unless we go within and do the dirty work on ourselves first, and as a nation, secondly. And if we try to have that passionate new beginning, rather as a whole or a family unit or ourselves, without doing that dirty work, then we're standing 10 toes down on being a fool. Potential outcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're hoping somebody's going to do this for us. We're hoping there's another way out. We are resisting the transformation. That can't possibly end well. Because it's going to come. Transformation's going to come. So if we're not actively in it for the greater and highest good of all of our citizens and our strangers, our visitors, then it might not be the transformation we want. And this affects the whole world. It doesn't just affect us. We've gotten so selfish. Any advice, please and thank you. Any advice, please and thank you. The Lover's reversed, I would say right now that's an infernal union. Final advice, please and thank you. Final advice, please and thank you. We're going to have to let go of some comforts, some material comforts. We're going to have to stop trying to have it both ways and juggle things to make it work out both ways. We can't have our cake and eat it too. And that's the final advice. So thanks so much for joining me. Oh, and if we don't get it right this lifetime, there's another one. It just may not be in this physical lifetime. Thanks so much for joining me.